Hi everyone, I'm Clarice, Head of Marketing at Flowlab. Thanks for taking the time today to learn how we, against all odds, exceeded our growth targets during the ATT apocalypse and grew to 5,000 subscribers in 6 months. But let's get the bad news out of the way first. All of us here know the good old days of acquiring users are over. I'm sure some of you still have some mild PTSD thinking back to those first few weeks of iOS 14.5 chaos. I know I still do. Like many young B2C mobile subscription apps, Flowlab spent over 90% of paid activity on Instagram when ATT dropped. With smaller budgets than most, we went blind, getting little to no scanned postbacks from our campaigns, effectively putting an end to reliable measurement and conversion optimization. The good news, however, is that we love a challenge. Post iOS 14.5, Flowlab grew over 12 times in 6 months and was chosen as Apple's App of the Day across Germany and Europe. So what is the secret behind our growth? Right in the midst of this paradigm shift where privacy all but crippled the machine learning algorithms all of us relied on way too much. Simply put, we started focusing all our efforts on creating viral ads. But before diving in, I would first like to take a step back and introduce you to Flowlab. Flowlab is leading the next generation of mental fitness apps by combining personalization, measurability, and meditation sessions rooted in positive neuroplasticity training and flow science. This holistic approach is what trains our users to develop peak mental performance. So how does it actually work? When downloading the app, you complete a short entry test to create your psychological profile. The Flow Coach then creates your weekly meditation plan tailored to your own mental strengths and weaknesses. Users have the choice of different meditation sessions, ranging from 5 to 20 minutes. And over time, your personal flow profile tracks your progress and measures your flow levels. Now, let's get back to the question at hand. How did Flowlab grow more than 12 times in 6 months during the ATT apocalypse? Well, after testing over 50 ads consisting of videos, single images, and carousels, one went viral. A simple design with a powerful message. In the span of 3 months, it reached over 4 million people, got over 120,000 reactions, and had a CPI of €4. It received comments in the thousands and hundreds of shares. We decided to dig deeper into the psychology of the ad to identify the core aspects that triggered an emotional response and how we can translate those into messaging that can be used to replicate the effect. After digging into the ad messaging and comments, we identified positive aspects evoked, like self-reflection and empowerment, but also negative emotions, such as guilt and feeling attacked. We then extrapolated these findings and created messaging based on our hypothesis that replicating these triggers in other formats will create more winning assets. Some examples of other formats that we thought could have the same effect were ads about reliable psychological phenomena, and if you're not doing X, you're not doing enough. So we ran with this hypothesis and tested different formats. These two were the winning ads of the following batch: a definition of the psychological phenomena known as decision paralysis, and a simple diagram showing how you can get where you need to be. Now, when we look at what lies behind these two winning ads, we identify the winning aspects of the diagram to be responsibility, tough love, empowerment. The messaging communicates that you are not where you want to be right now, but you can get there with a little bit of focus, motivation, and grit. Over the course of 3 months, this reached over 1 million people, got over 10,000 reactions, and had a CPI of €4. The decision paralysis definition had winning aspects like self-reflection and feeling understood. And of course, this messaging theme is a relatable psychological phenomenon. This got over, This reached over 1.4 million people in 2 months, got over 14,000 reactions, and had a CPI of €4. Then, we decided to go even deeper and apply this hypothesis-driven approach to specific audiences. In this case, we targeted people in creative fields as they formed a large part of our Instagram following. The bad news: what's stopping you is not a lack of preparation, time, or skills. It's your fear of getting started, giving up too easily, and paralyzing perfectionism. The good news: you can overcome that, with a little help of Flowlab, of course. This reached nearly 2 million people in 2 months, got over 25,000 reactions, and had a CPI of €3. We also couldn't help but notice that the most frequent comments we received on this ad was, "Does this help for ADHD?" So we pivoted and created ads inspired by the most frequent comment while sticking to the winning hypothesis. In this example, ADHD. This was the most effective of the bunch, reaching over 250,000 people in 2 weeks, got nearly 1,000 reactions, and had a CPI of €2. Now, this is all well and good, but for sure by now, you've asked the question, what was the technical setup behind these campaigns? So let's do some housekeeping and look at the setup. On a campaign level, the objective were app installs, with campaign type as app ads, targeting iOS 14+. The bid setting was set to lowest cost, and campaign budget optimization was activated. On an ad set level, we had 5 ad sets in each campaign, targeting interests, lookalikes, and location. Placements were set to automatic, but nearly all deliveries took place on Instagram. The optimization was set to app installs, and tracking was set up with the Apps Flyer SDK. Each ad that we just saw was the first tile of a carousel, with the following tiles expanding more on the product benefits and App Store reviews. So, what's next? How do we go from here to build on this momentum? Well, we decided to test new formats, like these ones, where we play with a reversible poem that asks the viewer to read from the bottom up. The topics were inspired by comments on previous ads, using most frequently implied triggers like, "I'm a victim of external distractions," and "capitalism is the reason I'm not successful." The one in the middle was the best performing of the 3. From the bottom up, it reads, "Mental fitness actually works, so don't tell me that I'm not good enough, because at the end of the day, I have what it takes, and I refuse to believe that I'm a failure." We also continue to refine and scale the Evergreen Formula, sticking to the same simple text-only format with powerful quotes from well-known figures, while also testing product-focused GIFs, with text priming the viewer to self-reflect on a challenging question. Looking forward, we'll continue to adapt the base formats to new potential audiences, like athletes, which also form a significant part of our Instagram following. Our partnership with the VfL Wolfsburg enables us to test new formats targeting this specific audience, and eventually putting these to the test against our winning formula. So let's sum up the key takeaways from the Flowlab journey of hypothesis-driven creative optimization. Don't make ads. Create content that has value for your audience. Focus on triggers that align with your mission to boost virality. Make the message relatable to evoke responses like, "That's so me." After you found your winning creative, analyze which emotions are evoked by it, and then replicate those in new formats. Then, after you have your Evergreen Formula, go deeper and tailor the best formats to more targeted audiences. And lastly, pivot by watching the comments on your winning ads closely and use the most frequent ones as inspiration for new creatives. I'm sure throughout this talk, you've already started brainstorming on some creative ideas for your own brand, so I'm going to let you go write those down and get started on your journey of getting that winning creative. Thanks for your attention, and enjoy the rest of the talks.